Poverty and a lack of opportunity are huge barriers for many African Americans hoping to go to college. Closing the Gap Detroit is an organization that's helping to make college a reality for low income or first generation students. The program helps young people navigate the application process and gain access to financial aid and scholarships. Joining me now is the founder, Jennifer Smith. Welcome to American Black Journal.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, I got to say up front, even for middle and upper class families, sometimes that maze of forms and things you have to fill out and know about when you're sending your kid off to college is confusing. I mean, it's just a lot.
It's tremendous.
Yeah. So for low income families or families for whom you're about to send somebody off to college and they're the first person in the family to go, it's got to be doubly overwhelming.
Absolutely, and that was really the premise of why I started the organization. And believe it or not, I get so many calls from parents who understand the work of the organization, but truly its core mission, the focus of the organization was set up to really handhold and walk students through this process who are truly underserved. I mean, let's face it, the schools are overwhelmed. When you hear about schools on the brink of closing or just the dynamics that exist in the city particularly, there are tangible students on the on the receiving end of that who really are just looking for someone to encourage them through the process,
Right.
to handhold, to hold them accountable, and it's not there.
Yeah.
And the process changes. You know, the FAFSA deadline changes. It moves up. There's increased paperwork that is needed to be submitted when young people are applying.
Yeah.
And so, you know, this organization is committed to making sure that young people have they have an advocate for them, even within their own schools, but also as it relates to them trying to obtain an education.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that's really frustrating about schools on this count is that the erosion of counseling capacity has really made it harder for people. You know, if you're in school and want to go to college, there's nobody to go to in your school who can help you navigate this process. Or if there is, that person is serving, hundreds of students, and you're just one of them.
Yes, you know, I'll be, totally frank with you. When I really got the vision and the definite confirmation that I needed to go forward with actually formally starting this organization, the school that I sat on the board for, I'm not going to mention the name, they had a middle school counselor, a high school counselor who was formerly a middle school counselor that was supposed to be serving the seniors, and a senior counselor who had never had a senior class before.
Wow.
And it was very tough, and I will be honest, one of the counselors was so grateful to me in helping her, write letters of recommendation, help parents and students complete the FAFSA. I mean, they were so overwhelmed, and I just felt for those students because they needed an opportunity. They deserve to have someone talk about what it meant to go to college. They deserve to have someone address their fears. And let's face it, 90% of my students have a household income of no more than $20,000 and multiple children in the household. So they're not getting that from home. And so the school setting is hopefully the aspect that can get that from, and it's not happening.
I also imagine that one of the things that you're helping these families with is understanding that even though it is overwhelming, even though there's a lot to do, there is a lot of help and support out there for people who are going to college for the first time in their family, people who are unable to pay for tuition. I feel like we're doing better on that count than we used to in the past.
I would agree, and I think resources like Detroit College Promise, both on the community college side
and
as
now
well
on the
as the
four-year,
four-year
right?
side helps. If you're a youth who is in foster care, there are tons of resources from the state that support youth going to college. But here's the challenge, though. The challenge is that while we think about this, the structure of family, that's changing. Because within this a high poverty area, Stephen, people are just kind of checked out,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like I'm a mother, and I really would love to talk to you about the FAFSA, but I've had to move my family 4 times
Right.
in 1 year,
Right.
or my water is cut off, or we're having to illegally get electricity from a neighbor, right?
Right.
So these are the issues that my youth are facing on a daily basis. And so even the aspect of having an engaged family member that, that can actually even devote the emotional energy to the process, is slim to none.
Yeah,
It's slim to none. And that's the unique difference with Closing the Gap, because sure, there are lots of organizations that, can help you complete a FAFSA, who can, help you complete an application. But is that an organization that you can call because you need a plane ticket to actually
Right.
go home, or
Right.
you don't have a family member to actually move you into college, or when it's time for you to expand your network and get an internship, are those resources
Where
there?
can
So
we
it's
find you?
comprehensive.
Yeah.
And that's why college access and completion through mentorship
Yeah.
is so important.
I mean, it's that connection between access and completion.
That's right.
That there's a gap there. I
That's
mean, there
right.
are lots of people focused on trying to get access, and then good luck.
Exactly.
We'll see you. We'll see you 4 years.
Or even ensuring that young people even arrive on those campuses.
Right. Right.
And the irony.
And know what they're supposed to arrive
That's right.
with.
And the irony is that, when college counselors are advising students, they tell them, look at the graduation rate, look at the retention rate. But a lot of times the graduation and retention rate is based on young people completing once they enroll. So if I show up there and I don't have enough money through financial aid, and I just kind of made a decision, that means I'm going home,
Right.
which ultimately impacts the graduation and retention rate for that university.
All right. Well, great that you're involved in trying to close that gap.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
All right.
yes.
And thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Absolutely.